Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the Get to Know Me series. For being here today, That's right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It is another episode of the Get to Know Me series right here on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And boy, do we have a great show today. Someone that's a personal favorite of mine, someone that I follow on Instagram, follow on YouTube every week, who has actually taught me quite a bit about reselling. What's reselling? Well, it's a great way to make a living these days. And even more than that, a great way to make content for all your social media channels. So today we're going to talk to Mr. Josh Farnell, also known as Harry Tornado.
What's going on, guys? Josh and Haley here. We're back at our local flea market. It's been cold for the past couple weeks, and it's still cold today. However, it is packed this week.
I don't remember the last time we've seen this many vendors out here at the flea market. So we were pumped. We tried to go to our gas station today to get cash, but of course that ATM was down. So now we have to go to the other side of the flea market to get cash real fast and then start shopping. But I'm pumped.
I'm too.
Let's do it. We're cashed up. What is that? Looks like something. Oh, it's an old Pittsburgh hat. Sunkies. That is old. 13. Look at this.
$1.
That's right. You saw him in action there. And that is just one of the many great videos on his channel, Harry Tornado. I'm going to bring him on now. Josh, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
All right, and we're so glad you could join us. And this is going to be a little bit different from the other weeks because you have just really kind of sprung up in the content creation community in the last couple of years here, and doing it in a very kind of a niche way that not a lot of people might know about. Could you just give us a little snippet of what is Harry Tornado's channel and what do you do?
Yeah, so I started the channel back in September of 2018. I had always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I wasn't reselling at the time. I just started making I can't even explain it. You just have to go back and watch my old videos to see what they were about. But I quickly realized that if you wanted to grow on YouTube, you really need to pick a category of video and stick with that, because if you make a cooking video and people subscribe for that, and your next video is archery or something, it's hard to build an audience like that. So once I found reselling and started making those videos, the channel just continued to grow. I think we just hit 300,000 subscribers a couple months ago. We're at 313,000 now, and it's went from kind of a side hobby type thing to a full-time job for both me and my wife. So I guess that's the snippet. That's been
Yeah, and you really have grown very quickly. I found your channel probably a year ago, I would say, right in the midst of COVID and everything else. And, you had some extra time on our hands. And do you think that may have played into a little bit of your channel's growth and everything, with people really exploring new hobbies and new side businesses and such?
Yeah, during COVID, there was a lot of YouTube channels that took off during COVID. Everybody was home and watching YouTube, and just twiddling their thumbs. So we had a big series of growth at that time. The growth on YouTube's kind of like the stock market, it goes up and comes back down. But generally speaking, if you stay consistent, it should go up over time. And that's been how our channel has grown. We'll have big spurts and then it kind of levels off, and another big spurt. So we're waiting for the next one, but so far so good.
Well, I definitely enjoy it, and it's taught me quite a bit. My son Jake is now kind of my side navigator through Goodwills and our own Salvation Army thrift stores and things that we go through. And it's just been fun to learn from you guys. But I kind of want to go back in time. You know, part of this series is finding out how you got to where you are now. And I can tell by your videos, you have a passion for this and probably even more is a passion of interacting with people. You're very easy to talk to, both you and your wife. And so, but kind of going back, was this what you wanted to do? Was this what you got into right from the jump out of high school? You said you kind of made this became a full-time thing. What was the journey to get where you are now?
It's definitely, I definitely never thought I was going to be a YouTuber. I mean, I got into YouTube when I was in high school, but this was like 2008. So there was like, I don't know, 200 YouTube channels or something. Like that was not if you would have told your parents back then you want to be a YouTuber, they probably wouldn't even know what that is, much less like support you and think that was a career. But nowadays it's much more doable. But no, I've had tons of jobs. I think I've had like 30 something jobs in my life. I've been a bag boy at a Piggly Wiggly. I've worked at several different Chick-fil-A's, worked at Hardee's for 2 weeks. It was the worst job I've ever had. I got after college, after I dropped out of college, I was trying to find some more professional type work other than just restaurant stuff. So I started selling insurance. That was awful. Then I started a job as an insurance underwriter, which that was pretty good. That was decent salary, benefits and everything, kind of like the corporate job, something you could easily work for the rest of your life. And that was probably my goal, just to stay there, because it wasn't like my dream job by any stretch of imagination, but it was easy enough and it was good money. But then fortunately, I was laid off back in August of 2018. And at that time I had, August of 2019. And at that time I just hit like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and the 4,000 hours of watch time that it takes to be monetized. So I could finally start making money with YouTube. And then the next week is when I got laid off. So it all kind of fell into place, and that kind of kicked off the whole YouTube as a career from that point.
Right. And you, like you said earlier, you kind of honed in on a niche subject. YouTube is the wild, wild west as far as, what you can find. If you enjoy making art on a needle tip, you pretty sure you can find that on YouTube. And so, but you kind of chose this reselling and flipping, if you will. Do you remember the start of that? Was that something you've always enjoyed doing? Was that kind of a side hustle that you had? How did you get into the reselling part? And even more, do you remember your first, real flip?
My first flip outside of eBay was like a sewing table. I picked it up at Goodwill. It was just like it was a sewing table, but it didn't have a sewing machine in it, but it still had like the little trap door thing. I think I paid like $15 for it, and I was gonna refurbish it and turn it into something else, but I lost interest, so I just sold it as is on Facebook Marketplace. I think I got $30 for it. And I was like, I just made $15 in profit. Like, this is like 2 hours of work for me for that sewing table. So that was the first thing I flipped for a profit, and I kept flipping things on Facebook Marketplace, usually like furniture and like bigger items like that, golf bags. And I never wanted to get into eBay because I didn't want to ship anything. I thought shipping was going to be way too difficult, but it's really not that bad. You watch a couple of YouTube videos and had it figured out. First thing I sold on eBay was a jacket, it's just a jacket I had from my own closet. Listed it on Halloween 2018, and like a week and a half later, I got the cha-ching sound on my phone that I'd never heard before. I was like, what was that? And I saw that it sold. I was like, all right, this is the start of something beautiful.
Yeah, that is a great sound, except when it comes at like 3 a.m. and you're you're asleep. But it's still a great sound to hear that something you sold. So you started going into this and started becoming more and more and more. Did you find that as you got into reselling and even as you got into YouTube, did you find that a lot of the things from your past, your education process, were really kind of coming into play? Maybe, learning how to grow your channel, analytics, all these big words. Did you find that, it's not just jumping in and jumping on, but you actually needed to kind of rely on a lot of the stuff you had in the past?
That's a good question. I guess it's a mixture of both. Like with YouTube and reselling, it's like it was new territory. I'd never done anything like that before on that scale. And I don't know. That's a tough question. I'd like to think I'd use some of my skills that I learned previously, so they're not all going to waste.
Right.
But I think for the most part, it's been just learning along the way.
Right. And you talked about being an insurance underwriter and selling insurance and stuff, and dealing with numbers and stuff like that, and having done some of these videos now and even with our own church services and stuff, you've got to figure out, viewership and demographics and where are they coming from and things like that. And it helps you kind of go along that path. Do you find that can be, you talked about your dips and your ups and downs and everything like that. Do you find that can sometimes be a real frustration, especially when you were first starting this, or was it just so much fun that you just kind of weren't really worried about it?
I think the best thing about starting YouTube and reselling while I had my other job is that it was never I never had that feeling of desperation that a lot of people have. A lot of people get into reselling because it's like a last ditch effort. Like they've got to make some money somehow. So they have like all the motivation in the world to feed their family. But, I was still working. I was still making good money, supporting the family with that. And all the reselling and YouTube stuff was just kind of, icing on the cake. And then once I got laid off, then it was pedal to the metal for sure. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's all good. No, you're okay. Yeah, I do. And so, in following your channel, we know that Haley, your wife, is joined you on the channel in the last couple of months, and you actually reached a point where she was able to step away from her job as well and join you on this full time. And the purpose of this series is to really kind of not only get to know all these wonderful people, but following God, the passions God's put in your life and kind of going into it, just following those dreams. So that moment where you and Haley kind of decide, we're going to go all in, like we're going all in on this. What was that moment like? A lot of people can feel stuck in there where they're at, but going all in towards this, how did you feel around that?
Well, for us, it wasn't really like a certain moment. There was just a period of like 4 or 5 months where Haley was going to work with her at her job that she didn't really like. I was staying home, and YouTube money was really good, and the reselling income was good. And I started traveling. Like I went to Utah to hang out with Tim Osborne at Thrift and Hustle Home Mom, and Haley had to stay home and work. And it got to be where she was working, and we weren't concerned about payday for her because we were just basically living off the YouTube and reselling income. So I'm like, why are you even working if we're not, like, if this isn't something you want to do, if this isn't a passion for you, and we don't even need the money, So even at that point, it still took another 2 or 3 months for her to like finally come around and put her notice in. I think she had a hard time. She had worked really hard to reach that position. She was the lab director for the whole county wastewater treatment facility. And it was like her 3rd job out of college, and she had moved up the ranks every time. And so it was a fairly prestigious job. She had won lab director of the year that year prior for the state. And I think she was like proud of the work she had done there. So I think that was what was keeping her from quitting sooner. It wasn't the money or a lack of faith that we could make it with reselling YouTube. It was like cutting ties to, she went to Clemson and got her biochemistry degree and had worked up the ladder, and like cutting ties to that, I think was probably the biggest hurdle. Because once she joined, that even helped boost us even more. People love Haley. They love seeing her on videos. And our business has done nothing but go up since then. So it was a good move financially, but I guess tough emotionally.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes letting go of what you're unaware of, that the future can be kind of scary and everything. And Haley was a great joining the videos. My wife loves watching her, so for sure. No, she liked you as well, but she was glad when Haley joined full time. Well, watching your videos, you've had some pretty fun experiences, and I wanted to kind of lean in that for a moment. And the 2 things that come to mind first would be, you find some incredible items along the way, and at these flea markets and thrift stores, and like you said, traveling all over. What may have been the one item that you just like could not believe that you found, and that you were able to resell, and not even have to be monetarily, just blew you away?
A lot of resellers have that like white whale story where they're like, oh, I went to this little yard sale and I found this item for $2 and it was worth $10,000 or
The
something.
Declaration of Independence
The
behind art.
Declaration of Independence, yeah. But I mean, we found several things that we've, got for a couple bucks that are worth a couple hundred, but we've never had like that one holy grail or anything. Like even in today's video we posted, I got a mini computer, like a mini desktop computer for $50. Paid my friend to fix it up for us. He had to get a new fan for it or something, and that should sell for like 500. So 50 into 500 is a great flip, but it's not like I'm not gonna tell my grandkids about it one day. It's kind of part of the business. When you spend as much time as we do going to flea markets and thrift stores and garage sales and all this stuff, you're bound to find things like that. Every so often. So I don't think there's been I can't name one thing that we found that was like super memorable, but it's just been consistently finding profitable items, stuff we can make 50 to 100 to $200 on every week for the last 3 years or however long since we've been doing it.
Right. But does that play into the fun of the hunt of, hey,
Oh, yeah.
you never know what will come around the corner?
Yeah, because it's a double, it's almost like double dipping. We had a garage sale YouTube video where we opened a box and it was like a Nintendo 64 and like 30 games and an Xbox 360, and I just closed it and asked the guy, how much for the whole box, and he told me $20. And I immediately started thinking, I was like, one, this is great because I think we sold everything for like $650, so it was very profitable. But also the video is going to do very well because I'm like, this is the best thing we've ever found with a garage sale. $20 into $650, that's crazy. So generally, like when you find good things, oftentimes more than most of the time, we make more money on the YouTube video than we actually do finding things. But when we can find something in a video and it makes $500 or $600, then it becomes comparable, and it's it just works both ways. The item itself is valuable, and the video tends to do a lot better.
Right, and
it's very motivating to find good stuff like that.
And as the viewer, there's almost there's a sense of worry and panic sometimes when watching your video. Like, are they going to get their money back? Is this going to be? I think back to the golf clubs, I believe it was, where you made it was a big purchase on your end, and then you had to do the work to individually get them out there, and it's like, I hope they can recoup all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But even those videos are fun because, it doesn't want to just be informational. We become invested. And do you find that a lot of the YouTubers, i.e. why you're on this channel right now, have just kind of become invested in you guys, more than the reselling, but have just become fans of Josh and Haley?
Yeah. So on YouTube, there's essentially two different types of content creators. There's relationship-based creators and there's idea-based creators. And for an idea-based creator, that's somebody like Mr. Beast, like the types of videos he does, like jumping off a building with a parachute made of cheese or something like that. Like no matter who makes that video, it'll probably do well because that's an idea that people are interested in. Whereas somebody like a vlogger like Emma Chamberlain or Casey Neistat, they can make videos about whatever they want because people are just interested in them as a person. And in the reselling category on YouTube, it seems crowded. Like if you watch reselling videos, it seems like there's a lot of resellers, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, reselling is a very small community. Like that's why there's we're one of the top channels. We don't even have 350,000 subscribers yet. Whereas if you go to like gaming the community on YouTube, there's probably 10,000 channels with over 1 million subscribers just in that community. So it's a pretty small community, and I think there's only so much you can learn about reselling. Like I guess you could learn new bolos and new shipping tips and stuff, but we've tried to get away from that. Like we'll sprinkle tips and tricks in our videos every so often, but I think we'd like to establish ourselves as relationship-based creators. That way we can make travel vlogs, traveling other places and thrifting and showing house updates and things like that. Things like that people are interested in that don't have anything to do with reselling, but it's just stuff to do with us. And that's a fine line. We've tried to like sprinkle like personal content in the videos from time to time. I'll go back and watch and see if people fast forward through certain parts of videos, and even parts where it's like 5 minutes of not thrifting at all, just like personal vlog type stuff. People still watch it. Sometimes they fast forward through the eBay stuff and thrift stuff just to get to the personal. So I wouldn't just go all in on that at first. It takes years to build that relationship with your audience to a point where they're willing to watch you live your life, without getting something other than entertainment out of it. But for us, it's worked out really well.
Yeah, and I think that was shown. No one here would know it, but moments before we rolled tape, my son ran into the room we're filming in our chapel, and he comes running in to come see one of his favorite YouTubers, and we end up almost wrecking the entire audio trying to get that set up. But it's true. It's the connection, and he's 9, and if I'll walk downstairs and he's got your video up on the TV and he's watching and filling me in, and I'll say as a dad, thank you, because I know watching your videos that he's getting good content that I don't have to worry about. But it is that relationship, and I think that's very needed in this day and age as well. Well, then a last fun question for you is, you got to experience, I know you say we only have 300,000 subscribers, but
Relative.
yeah, exactly. So, but you've gotten to do some things because of that. And so maybe fill us in on some of your favorite highlights of being a YouTuber with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, maybe interactions with people you never thought you'd be able to interact with, and so on.
Yeah, it's almost, I never want to think of us as like celebrities, because I don't feel like a celebrity, but then like people will buy something from us on the Whatnot auction and want us to sign it, or people will see us in public and they'll say hi and be like really nervous and like shaking. I'm like, calm down, it's just me. Like, there's nothing to be nervous about. Or some people will see us and be too nervous to say hi. They'll just message us on Instagram later and say, hey, how are you today? I'm like, what do you say hello? Like, I'm just a person. So that's been fairly weird, like trying to get used to like people treating you like a celebrity when you don't feel like one. Right. But then like, I don't know. I mean, I do 313,000 subscribers. That's definitely a lot, but it's been such a slow growth. It's not like we went from 1,000 to 300,000 overnight. Like, it's been over the course of 3 years. So it's not like, if I wake up tomorrow and we've got 400,000 subscribers, that would feel like, that would be cool. And, that would make me feel.
Wait until when this video drops, just going to skyrocket.
That's right. It's just been such a slow growth. There's a difference between being an overnight sensation and then just somebody that builds up their reputation and audience over time. It's cool. Like, if I see somebody on YouTube that I want to communicate with, I guess it's cool that I could just reach out to them and they'll respond. Because most people, if I'm reaching out to a creator that has the same level of subscribers as us, generally they're not going to respond to most people that email them. Just as they can't. There's just way too many people. But I've had a couple of people I reached out to that were similar sizes to us, and we we're able to have some conversations. So that's a good way to use your influence to get your foot in the door with other people. And like, we went to a YouTube conference last year, and that was pretty cool. Just like being in the same room with people that have 1 million subscribers, 3 million subscribers, and just trying to talk YouTube shop. That's not, you don't have to have a lot of subscribers to do that, but I think tickets were like $1,000 a piece. So having the YouTube audience and enough income from YouTube to be able to afford to go to something like that, that was really awesome. We're definitely going to do that again this year. I don't know. I'm sure there's more benefits to it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, I got to tell you,
any like special treatment. I did one time. This guy, when we were doing the bin stores, like going to the Amazon Overstock stores, this guy was trying his best to get us to like. He was like, I came last night. I saved us a spot in the front of the line. I want you guys to come up there. I was like, I don't want to cut the line, man. Like, we got here, like, it's fine. And he was like super adamant. He's like, I got here last night to save this spot. I was like, I really don't want to cut all these people. The last thing I want is somebody filming us like, oh, look, Harry Tornado cutting every line, even though everybody else cuts lawns, So the Spider-Man quote: "With great power comes great responsibility." So it's been, trying to find that balance of life, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, even just talking to you in our interactions, I know that you come from a place of faith, but your humility is shown even in that statement, and being willing to jump on an interview series for a small town like Berwick, Pennsylvania, it just shows that you're still Josh, head planted right. We appreciate that so much. So I want to leave you with a question that I've asked all my other guests, and as there's hopefully people going to be watching this, thinking of what's next in life. If Josh now could talk to 12-year-old Josh, what would he say?
12-year-old Josh. 12 was a rough year.
Usually is.
Yeah. I don't know. Like most 12-year-olds, I really cared too much about what people thought of me. And all my focus was just spent on like trying to be cool and trying to fit in and all. And it's natural. Like you want to, for most kids at least, they want to blend in. They don't want to stand out because they don't want to bring attention to themselves. I'm not sure if there's anything I could say to my 12-year-old self that would get him to not do that. But I'll just give some encouragement. When I was in middle school and high school, I was not very popular. I was, chubby and short. I'm still chubby and short, but at least I'm slightly cooler now than I was back then. And it's just tough being a kid, and like, cause everything seems so important at the time, and you get older, you realize it wasn't, but in that moment being a kid, it can be tough. So I just give some encouragement, just say like, this is just a small part of your life. You're going to grow up. You're going to do things you never thought you were going to do. You're going to work jobs. You're going to hate them. You're going to love some of the jobs, and things will fall into place. So just enjoy life a little bit. You're 12 years old. Go play something. Go live a little bit. Don't worry so much. You can worry later. You're going to be worrying for the rest of your life.
Right.
Don't worry right now.
Absolutely. And I think that's great advice, not only just for 12-year-olds, but for anybody. You're going to have ups and downs. Let it play out. God's got you. Well, Josh, I want to say thank you so much for giving of your time. And I know you were super busy, and this means the world to us. And so is there anything that you wanted to plug or anything on your way out?
I don't think so.
About your channel?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube channel is Harry Tornado. If you find us on YouTube, I would go back and just start from the beginning, like with our first videos, and then work your way through that way, because you can see us go from not making reselling videos, like just making random videos, to finding that category and then growing that. I did videos where I was thrifting on my lunch break in my old job. Then I made a video the day I got laid off from that job. And then, I was kind of nervous in that video because I didn't know, I had the ability to make money on YouTube at that time, but I wasn't yet. And I had no idea what this would turn into. So the great thing about our channel is you can see the business grow over the last 3 years through like a video diary almost. And I think that's a really interesting thing to see. And I want that to be like inspirational. Like I said earlier, college dropout, have like a 3.0 GPA in high school, very average intelligence, I would think. I'm chubby. I'm 5'6" 3/4 inches. Like there's nothing special about me at all. Like I would definitely not make it in Hollywood. But if you have the ability to speak on camera in a way that portrays authenticity and provide value and valuable information, and give people a reason to watch you, you can grow a YouTube channel. You can grow a social media platform into something that provides an outlet for your creativity and a way for you to help people and change people's lives. We've had people reach out and say they found our videos and they had lost their job or whatever, and now they got into reselling and they are making more money with reselling than they were at their job. Basically the same thing that happened to us. So being able to inspire people and kind of show them the way to do that has been awesome. And just, I don't know, like I never want it to seem braggy or anything like that, but we've been able to build this business way more than I ever thought we could have. And it's just been a huge blessing for us. Obviously, we hired someone recently to help us. We've been able to, bring her on and help her support her family. And I kind of want to hire more people, honestly. I was nervous about hiring the first, but now that we got her, I'm like, I'm gonna hire more. This is great.
A couple years, I'll send Jake down. He'll love to work for you.
Yeah. That's right. It's you never know exactly what you can accomplish, especially, with God, for sure. He had all this planned out long ago, and it was just up to us to trust the process and put our heads down and keep working. So.
Absolutely. And I think it's summed up, you said it's a great creative outlet and great way to help people. You guys have your merch line, support your friends. And, scripturally, there he is. We know scripturally, Jesus said, love your neighbor, and your neighbor is everyone around you. So support your friends, support your neighbors, help out your fellow person. In this day and age, we need that a lot more. Well, Josh, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and make sure that you tune in every week for Get to Know Me. And don't forget that there is going to be a question in the description with a secret answer from this very interview. See if you can answer to be entered to win a prize for this week's viewing. So on behalf of the Salvation Army, we say thank you to Josh, and we'll see you next time on Get to Know Me.